Oh Canada, your majestic podcasts, the latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. Triton Digital has released its inaugural Canada podcast report. The ranker shows the top downloaded podcasts overall, top Canadian English language and French language shows, as well as top networks in the country. For Canadian podcasts, CBC Radio's The Current is number one in English. Radio-Canada's Le Radio Journal is the number one in French. It measures 13 participating publishers. Warner Music Group has launched a new podcast network called Interval Presents, producing multi-format culture-forward audio content. It'll be run by Alan Coy. The winners of the Webby Awards were announced. There are 83 winners in the podcast category. Song Exploder got multiple awards. Coming soon, Apple Podcasts paid subscribers will be able to buy a year's subscription up front. If you're a creator monetizing through Apple Podcasts, you can add an annual plan now. Remote recording tool Riverside has just raised $35 million. The platform has now raised $47 million in total. eMarketer is forecasting US podcast ad spending will hit $2.2 billion in 2023. The numbers are similar to the IAB's released in May last year. SiriusXM and Audio Up have announced two new original scripted podcasts. Stars and creators of the shows will also appear throughout SiriusXM programming. SiriusXM has also signed an unlicensed lizard psychologist called Therapy Gecko. Podchaser now has 16 million credits in their database. Version 1.1 of the podcast taxonomy has been announced, a collaborative standard for harmonizing roles and credits in podcast production. We'll use those new categories shortly in podjobs.net. And Spotify is launching a fund to support open source software. The company has an earnings call this morning. In People News, Lyra Smith is now executive producer for comedy at iHeartMedia. She'd been story editor at Crooked Media, working on their limited series, including Webby Award winner This Land, and had also worked on S-Town and This American Life, among others. And in podcast news, the Chaser Report has finally started following the Australian election. It's only been 2 weeks. With the Chaser Report Election Edition, new shows come out every weekday afternoon at 4. Love Takes Action is new today from mutual life insurer New York Life, hosted by actor and writer Ellen Adair. The show tells stories of everyday people in real-life situations or during extraordinary events. And Graduate in the USA is new from the US Embassy Australia and Mushroom Studios. Now, we've had feedback from a man called Chris, and Chris is a bit angry, and he says, we've stopped subscribing to the Podnews podcast due to all the promos that you add at the end. Now the trailers are longer than your own content. Not true. It's not worth the extra lost time in our day. We subscribe to get podcast news, industry happenings, trends, news in capital letters, not to have to sit through promos of shows that we have no interest in. Well, thank you for that feedback, Chris. Not that you'll hear this, but let's ask you. Trailers, yes or no? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Did you just skip through them? Did you not skip through them? Please email me, editor@podnews.net, or use that boost button to send us a message through your new podcast app. I will do literally whatever you want. That's my job. Editor@podnews.net. Would be very grateful. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.